Today in the nerdy news you need to know about, Xboxes is Xboxes? Xboxes is it's all Xbox.
It's possessive.
It's oops all Xbox. Xbox is planning some more cuts. Xbox is still figuring out Call of Duty and Game Pass. And could Hellblade 2 come to PlayStation? We'll have all this and more because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Thursday, May 9th, 2024. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, joined by the OK Beast, joined by New York Game Awards nominated, joined by the Game Awards Future Class Blessing, Adioye Jr.
For the last 5 days, my brain has just been, they not like us. They not.
Yeah,
it's such an earworm.
Totally.
It's wild how like every single time I sit back at my desk, that's the song I go back to.
They know.
And it ends, and I press the replay button. I'm like, run it back one more time.
You got it. You got to feel it. Now, did you match the LaCroix to your shirt on purpose? Because it looks good.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't even think about that.
That is a good look right there.
Oh yeah,
that's some Tim Geddes on camera shit.
Shout out Devolver Digital for the shirt. This is part of the line
or whatever wasn't they called?
Yeah, something right there. You go. But yeah, I got the shirt sometime last year, and I've not worn it.
I want to say SGF last year. They were sending those out right beforehand. Yeah,
and this is when I kept this in my closet. I at first I wasn't really feeling it as much, but then I matched it with the jacket.
It's a good look.
Like, you know what? I'm feeling it.
That works.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jey Uso wearing his WWE shirt.
Yeet. How's watching wrestling been lately?
Great. You know, Tim and I have talked a lot about it, where it's like there is such an Avengers Endgame hangover. Where it was like WrestleMania was so good, they closed up, finished the story. It felt like I think you've heard me say it. It felt like the series finale of WWE. That it's like getting back in the swing. It hasn't been tough, but it's like, all right, back to it. You know what I mean? Like they're doing a lot of interesting stuff with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. There's this whole thing where Rhea got injured, and it looks like Dom's cheating on her now with
I know.
Liv,
I've been seeing some of that
fucking
stuff.
Awesome.
Those clips have been great.
Awesome.
Is CM Punk, is he back wrestling yet, or is he?
No, he's just talking a lot of shit. He's close. He's getting close. Do you imagine they're building for SummerSlam on that one? Jey Uso, amazing. Cody's doing great stuff. It's still great. It's still good.
Nice.
Yeah, Backlash was fun. Amazing crowd.
Backlash was the first one after WrestleMania,
right? And it was in France. And that.
I saw clips. The clips looked incredible.
Dude.
I think was it Jey Uso who was like doing this thing, and everybody's fucking dancing along.
Yeah, and then like when AJ Styles was being introduced, like when they cut to hard cam side,
like
the hard cam side, it was shaking because the audience was jumping in the entire arena. It was insane.
Yeah, WWE is difficult because there's so much. And it's hard to keep up with.
Of course.
When I was watching, it was 2 shows a week. I'm sure now it's up to 18 shows a week, it seems like. But I've never been so tempted to just fully dive all the way back in. Like, I watch WrestleMania just at home by myself on a monitor as I'm playing, whatever. I think I was playing Bellator or something.
Yeah.
Or no, I think maybe I was playing Final Fantasy. I was playing some game. But yeah, I just had that on the side, and I was like, all right, this is fun for the moment. But as I've been seeing, like, the improvements they've been making, I've been seeing, like, the one-shots they've been doing as they walk out to the ring.
Yeah,
this is all incredible.
Yeah. They're on another one over there, just like we are at Kind of Funny. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, GamesCasts are daily. Games Dailies are daily. Great topics, great discussions. We have it all for you. Of course, this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about live on YouTube, Twitch, and podcast services around the globe. If you like that, please support us with a Kinda Funny membership. Of course, with the Kinda Funny membership, you give us $10 and say, hey, I appreciate this independent small business that's making amazing content on par with anything else you'll find on the internet. But in return, your reward would be ad-free viewing on all of our content. Of course, you get to watch us record the podcast live as we record them in the afternoon, and you'd get the daily multimedia experience known as Gregway. What do I talk about today? Let's just say, shout out to Scotland. If you love what we do, like I said, that's why you do it.
How does that come off as a threat? When you say shout out to Scotland, all of a sudden
I guess you have to tune in, Scotland.
I get scared for Scotland.
Get your potatoes together. Change them over to American money. I don't know what Scotland uses. And then tell us.
I could not even guess.
It's got to be the euro. It's got to be the euro. Scott bucks.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Isn't euro like Scotland?
Kevin, you're in there, aren't you still?
Scotty. I love that.
It's not.
No, it's not. They use. I'm pretty sure they use the euro, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Do you?
Be careful. Be careful. This is a tight.
You know what?
This
Never
is
mind.
a tightrope I walk all the time between being comical and insulting. Be careful.
You're right. I should keep it to myself.
All right, we'll keep on moving. Of course, if you're watching live and want to give us a Scotty, you can be part of the show with your super chats on YouTube.com.
Whatever happened to Scotty Too Hottie?
He is still alive. He's still out there doing his thing.
I didn't think it was dead.
His partner Brian Christopher is dead.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Oh, damn.
Jerry
that
the King
sucks.
Lawler's son. Passed away.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Before it's in the you're wrong, apparently it's the British pound.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's so confusing over there. You know, the euro sounded like a great idea, and then I'm not even sure who using it. Is France using it, or are they still using francs?
No, they got off that.
They got off of francs. They're on the euro.
Yeah.
But then,
The Brexit stuff.
Wait, when did
But
that happen?
But
then, wait, hold on. But then, did England ever get on the euro? Or
No, that was one thing that they were like, "Hey, we're gonna keep our currency."
Okay.
Not going
Don't
on
get
over
me
here.
wrong. We got a lot of problems over here.
Yeah.
But I don't even know. You know what I mean? Don't get me
We got
started.
Texas, you know. We got our own issue. We got Florida. We're dealing with our own shit over here.
There's a lot more states to add to that list, and then they would say we're the problem. It doesn't matter. Like I said, super chats to be part of the show. Housekeeping for you today after Kinda Funny Games Daily. Of course, we are all about live talk shows here at Kinda Funny Games. You'll get the Kinda Funny GamesCast. It's going to be our Animal Well and Cryptmaster reviews. That's right. We're jumping in. 2 reviews for you on the Kinda Funny GamesCast today, followed by Nick's continuing Pokemon Nuzlocke stream.
Oh,
Yeah.
for the record, I want to take back what I said. I like Texas. I've learned recently you don't mess with entire territories of people.
Oh, you
Drake
missed-
made that mistake.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
because
okay.
now all California is just dancing on Drake's grave, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should just.
Why
not...
does California not like Drake?
Oh man, it's the whole thing. It's because Drake used the Tupac AI.
Oh,
Tupac,
yeah, of course.
big California icon,
Yeah.
California love. But then also Kendrick being from California. Tupac is his thing.
Okay.
So not like us, has like when you listen to the sound of it, it's very big West Coast vibe.
Okay.
So like all the people in California are dancing to it, doing like the California dances. So yeah, now it's California versus Drake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
The whole thing.
Ah, man.
It's a lot of lore to
It's
this.
a lot to keep up with, you know what I mean? Of course, if you're a Kinda Funny member, like I said, you can get today's Gregway momentarily because it's still trapped on my phone from me recording in the car. And hey, shout out to Scotland and Steven, my Georgia peach. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Carl Jacobs, Fargo Brady, and Delaney Twining. Today, we're brought to you by Aura Frames, Shady Rays, and BetterHelp. But we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. 6 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen.
Number 1, Xbox is planning more cuts after studio closings. This is Jason Schreier at gamesindustry.biz. That's not right.
No,
Bloomberg.
that's not right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Bloomberg. Jason Schreier.
I was in a
at
rush
Bloomberg.
this morning.
Hey, there's a lot of stuff happening every day. I understand. The sudden closure of several video game studios at Microsoft's Xbox division was the result of widespread cost-cutting initiatives that still aren't finished. This week, Xbox began offering voluntary severance agreements to producers, quality assurance testers, and other staff at ZeniMax, which it purchased in 2020 for $7.5 billion, according to people familiar with the company's plans. Others across the Xbox organization have been told that more cuts are on the way. A spokesperson for Xbox declined to comment. Employees were shocked by the unexpected shuttering Tuesday of 3 Xbox subsidiaries and the absorption of a 4th. The closures included Tokyo-based Tango Gameworks, which last year released the critically acclaimed action game Hi-Fi Rush. Tango was in the process of pitching a sequel, said the people who asked not to be identified, discussing non-public information. During a town hall with ZeniMax staff on Wednesday morning, Xbox president Matt Booty praised Hi-Fi Rush, but did not specify why the company had shut down the development studio behind it, according to 3 people who were in attendance. Speaking about the closures more broadly, Booty said that the company's studios have been spread too thin, like, quote, peanut butter on bread, end quote, and that leaders across the division had felt understaffed. They decided to close 3 studios to free up resources elsewhere, he said. Booty added that the shutdown of subsidiary Arcane Austin, the longtime developer of games such as Prey, was not connected to the performance of its new multiplayer game Redfall, a critical and commercial flop. Before its closure, Arcane had been looking to return to its roots by pitching a new single-player immersive sim game, such as a new entry in the Dishonored series, according to people familiar. Jill Braff, head of ZeniMax Studios, said in the town hall that she had she hoped the reorganization would allow the division, which also develops Fallout and Doom, to put more focus on fewer projects. Quote, "It's hard to support 9 studios all across the world with a lean central team and an ever-growing plate of things to do," end quote, she said, according to the audio the meeting reviewed by Bloomberg. Quote, "I think we are about to topple over," she added. Both Tango and Arcane released games last year that were looking to hire both Tango and Arcane released games last year and were looking to hire additional staff as they pitched new projects, which Booty and Braff suggested was the main factor behind the closures. Shinji Mikami, Tango's founder and studio head, departed last year. There's another part here that's required reading I sent in earlier, right, from Tom Warren of The Verge, inside the Xbox turmoil. But I do feel like even before you get to that, you have to come here and say, what the flying fuck are you talking about? Jill Braff, quote, "It's hard to support 9 studios all across the world with a lean central team and an ever-growing plate of things to do. I think we were about to topple over." What the fuck?
Is that not the entire job of a publisher? Like,
if I fucking right now, Kind of Funny bought Easy Allies, bought fucking No Clip Video, bought What's Good Games, bought IGN, and then in a fucking year or 2 year, whatever it is, I'm like, oh fuck, it's really hard to run all.
It's like,
no
oh man,
shit.
let's shut down.
No
Let's shut down 2 of
shit.
those.
That's like me and Jen having 3 more kids and be like, all right, it's 4 kids.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to get rid of 2 of them. Who knew it was tough? Who knew it was fucking tough?
I think one of the other bleak things here is the implication that the closure of Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks isn't because of the performance of the games. Oh no, like it wasn't that Redfall was bad. It's just that we're spread.
It wasn't that Redfall was bad and Hi-Fi Rush was good.
Yeah, like it was that they had just put out games, and so they were in the pitching stage of their next projects, and because their next projects were so far out, hey, like you guys are the ones to go. Like all the other studios we have are more closer to putting out games. That's so messed up, right? Like now every time one of your studios is putting out a new game, they have to go, all right.
Ninja Theory, how confident are you right now? How comfortable is Ninja Theory less than 2 weeks from Hellblade 2? Fucking nearly no marketing stuff. Aaron Greenberg, God bless him, responding to his own tweet yesterday with, here's this Icelandic event we had for creators and shit. All right. Yeah. I don't know where the fucking commercial is and the banner ads are and all this other shit. Okay,
which
cool.
I also have thoughts on. I have thoughts on that as well. But like, yeah, I think the lack of marketing is concerning, but also it's like, do you guys just not have your hands on the wheel? Like, what's going on here?
Are they sending it out to die is my concern.
Yeah. Aaron Greenberg commenting on it, I think is interesting, because I think one of the things that we talk about with Xbox is how much their leadership is very visible and very accessible and very talkative with the audience, right? Which is, I think, what a lot of people want. And I think oftentimes that is a good thing. You want to be, you want to appear as like, hey, we're humans that are listening, that are taking in feedback, and we're doing this thing, we're doing that thing, and like we're making ourselves approachable to you, the audience. That way, we're building this thing alongside with you, as opposed to feeling like you're closed off in somewhere, you know, inaccessible, and that you are these faceless suits that are making the decisions and pushing the buttons behind the scenes. I think I'm getting to the point though with it where I'm like, I don't necessarily want you to be like, oh look, we are marketing though. Like look like. Cool, that's not my business. I just want to see the marketing. Like, I think it's back to the thing of, you know, show don't tell. Like, do the thing. Don't tell us you're doing the thing. I don't think we need to hear from Aaron Greenberg saying, hey, like, look at the things we're doing to try and satiate the audience. It's like, hey, no, like, you don't even need to answer to that, because I think part of the issues, and this goes back to the conversation that, you know, you, Gary, and Paris were having, that I thought was very, very fascinating about Phil Spencer and how, like, so many people are like, Phil Spencer needs to go. And I think part of that comes from the fact that we see Phil Spencer so much, and so we have this like target that we can go, oh, he needs to go. But like, if granted, now it feels like it really happens as much, at least at this scale, right? If Nintendo's fucking up or if PlayStation's fucking up, right? Like, I feel like there's not that same connection to the people that are making those decisions at PlayStation. And so it's not necessarily, oh, these people at PlayStation need to go. It's like, oh, PlayStation, you just need to get your shit together. But I think
we're all like, yeah, Jim Ryan sucks. Stop talking about your cats. Yeah. And Jim Ryan's like, I don't know how the internet works. I'm not there. I don't give a shit.
And I feel like, yeah, PlayStation does this thing where they're like, hey, we want you, for you, the execs, for you, the higher ups, we don't want you to talk at all. like we want the brand to be bigger than what the actual, like, to be bigger than the faces of it. Xbox, it almost feels like the faces are bigger than the brand in a way where, yeah, like, we're yelling at you, we're seeing you, like we're having all this commentary with you. I feel like for Aaron, it's like you don't need to tell us that. Like, just keep doing your thing behind the scenes and just make shit better or market better, whatever the thing needs to be done is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was just a very interesting thing.
If I can toss in there, you bring up the comment from me, Paris, Gary talking about all this. Again, I think one of the best tweets from that day, Kevin, I just pasted in if you want to throw up the link, is Janice, who quote tweeted one of the tweets from, that's what we should call quote tweets. Tweets. X's now. One of the quotes from Phil Spencer that obviously been thrown around so much, and it was from the Kind of Funny interview, right, where he was about creative ambition. Janet quote tweeted and said, "Yeah, so many of Xbox's comments are aging like milk right now. This is the danger of selling the good guy narrative. It only works when you do good things. That said, this is also why PlayStation and Nintendo don't talk to anyone anymore. They're like, nah, I'm not going to play myself." Yeah. And it is that thing of like, there's so many different ways to do everything, right? But it is this decision that Xbox wanted to continue to be the front-facing. We are gamers. We are people. Here's Sarah. Here's Phil. Here's Aaron. Here's Pete Hines when he was still with Bethesda. Here's Todd Howard. And you can do that and you can put that out. But as PlayStation has receded on that, right? Like, it is just a brand you're yelling at, right? And that you don't expect necessarily them to make the best decisions. You understand they're a business.
Yeah.
And so then you get into this situation where about it, and I mean, I'm not at all carrying water and saying, oh, woe, like we had this conversation on that show. Woe is me for Phil Spencer, but like, what a lose-lose situation you've painted this guy into as Microsoft. Because again, I don't think Phil's like, close studios, this is great. I bet he's like, fuck this. My vision was to have this thing and do this thing, and now the people above me don't believe in that anymore and are putting the screws to me to make these changes and do it, and I have to do it because I have a boss, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think to the Aaron thing and to like the amount of communication with it, I think people get fired up even more now at Xbox because there is a level of ownership that the fans feel like they have over the actual company.
And again, this is the problem with having these people out there talking so much and saying, again, it'll be very interesting when all is said and done to have a look back and talk and what this was in the journey. But clearly, the Xbox games leadership team had a vision for what they were doing and where they were building. And as I talked about on the show when we were bringing up this conversation of like, the chat was, fire Phil needs to go. Blah, blah. I'm like, Gary, Paris, what do we think? Blah, blah. And it was that thing of like, Gary being like, I'm not a business, I'm not in there, I don't know what Microsoft's saying. I'm like, I don't either, but we do know that Xbox is not winning. The choices and the plans and the dominoes we've talked about forever have not led to success yet. And so at some point you have to imagine somebody's going to say, what the fuck are you doing? Turn it around and make it be profitable. Make it be this thing. Da-da-da-da. And is that what's happening right now? Is this an isolated incident? Layoffs and closures are rife in our business right now, right? In our industry. So this could just be, hey, this is what had to happen right now, da-da-da-da. But to go into Jason's article of more seems to be coming, to go into what we'll get into in a second with Tom Warren's reporting at The Verge, more seems to be coming.
Yeah. I want to zero in on the Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks of it, where, again, coming off of their latest games, they're the freshest off putting out games at Bethesda, which means they're the most like vulnerable to get shut down.
We have sucks. There's less of an investment in you.
Yeah, but
back to Hellblade.
Yeah, and this goes back to like conversation we had earlier. But like, all right, you had a hit in Hi-Fi Rush. Now there's not going to be a Hi-Fi Rush sequel. Like, I feel like that is such a misstep. Even if you're looking at the studios and you're like, we have to shut down somebody. You're picking the studio that just put out a hit. You're picking another studio, like in Arcane Austin, who is pitching maybe a follow up to Dishonored, maybe a new immersive sim. That is what you want. Prey was so good. Like Prey was so.
But
fire.
Here's the whole problem, and I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm not contradicting that. We keep throwing around hit. And this is the problem of having corporate overlords. This is the problem you've heard me talk about on this show so much of what a success to Supergiant looks like is far different than what a success to Microsoft looks like. Even though I'm sure the numbers Haiti 2s is put up, they are like, wait, fuck, that is a success to Microsoft. But stick with me, of an independent dev, right? And so Hi-Fi Rush, a critical success, yes, right? As we talked about, you and Tim talked about on that, Games Daily, 4 million players, not 4 million purchases necessarily at that one thing, right? So Game Pass related, and again, Xbox made their own bed with Game Pass. We'll get to that in a second of blah, blah. So it's like, even Prey, which was a critical success, did not move the needle in sales and stuff like that. So it is like, we're getting into the Embracer Group. We're getting into we want proven IP. We're getting into we need to milk Lord of the Rings. We're getting into it needs to be something that sells.
My main problem with that is that Xbox, from the way they're talking about it, it's internally and externally, they're contradicting that. Because here, Matt Booty praised Hi-Fi Rush, right? And like in one of the quotes, I don't know if it was from Jason or from The Verge or who, but like they're saying that we need more games like Hi-Fi Rush. So you're saying we need more games like Hi-Fi Rush, but then at the same time, you're shutting down the studio that made Hi-Fi Rush. You're shutting down a studio like Arcane Austin that can give you another Dishonored or can give you another hit. Because I think Redfall, of course, was a miss, right? But like, we know why that's a miss, because that's not their bag. They're pitching something that is their bag, that could have been another Dishonored, that could have been another Prey, that could have been another immersive sim that gets people in. Because those games, on the critical side, and just on the fan side, people love playing those games. And so you're saying you want those, but at the same time, they're not the successes for you. And it comes back to where I was a few days ago on this show, where I'm like, then why'd you buy what's the point of having all these studios? Just like foster the studios that are only going to make hits for you if you want to be the hit machine, if like your primary concern is the numbers. But the way they talk, they keep saying that that's not their primary concern. They keep saying they want that, but their actions aren't showing that.
Exactly. You're quoting, and I don't know if it actually made the Roper report. It made the rounds yesterday really quickly, like wildfire. Ash Parrish at The Verge had, Microsoft said it needs games like Hi-Fi Rush the day after killing its studio. Today, one day after Microsoft announced that it would shut down 4 of its game studios, Matt Booty, the head of Xbox Game Studios, held a town hall to discuss the division's future goals. Quote, "We need smaller games that give us prestige and awards," end quote. Booty told employees, according to internal remarks shared with The Verge. For some listeners on the call, it was a surprising goal. Microsoft had just shut down the Japanese developer Tango Gameworks, which was coming off the small, prestigious hit Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, that won awards.
Yeah, exactly. And so this goes back to the thrust of the GamesCast we did with Gary and Paris, right? Where it was, do you trust Xbox? And right now, it's what you're saying. They're saying one thing, acting another way. And I have to imagine, again, that's because top-down is coming onto them and saying, make this fucking make sense. You spent this much money on Activision. Now you're spread too thin doing all of this stuff. Get it together and make it work. Let's bring in Tom Warren's article. Like I said, it's a required reading inside Microsoft's Xbox turmoil. It's a great rundown of everything that's been happening recently, right? But we'll jump into the key details pulled from the article. Microsoft has also had internal debates about whether to put new releases of Call of Duty into Game Pass. This, of course, is Tom over at the Verge. I understand this is a debate that has been ongoing internally for quite some time, with concerns from some that the revenue that Call of Duty typically generates for Activision Blizzard will be undermined by Game Pass. I'm told, this is a new bullet point, I'm told that Microsoft has also considered increasing the price of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate again. These are only considerations, so a final decision could mean we still see a future Call of Duty release appear in most versions of Game Pass. The debate internally reflects the fact Microsoft's Xbox strategy has shifted from just delivering its games exclusively into Game Pass to considering bringing more Xbox games to multiple platforms. In yesterday's memo from Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studio, there was a hint of reprioritization for Bethesda teams that we may see elsewhere with Xbox. Quote, "These changes are grounded in prioritizing high-impact titles and further investing in Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games," said Booty, before noting that Xbox is doubling down on Bethesda franchises that are best positioned for success. Final one here. I understand Hellblade 2 is another game that Microsoft has been considering for PlayStation 5. Lots to jump into there as well.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing being that it is the Bethesda side of things that is like the focusing on the higher impact titles. It doesn't sound like that is like the idea throughout Xbox, at least yet. It seems like that idea can proliferate through, right? And the way that business and capitalism works, you would imagine that, hey, like we just need to have these bigger high impact titles. You need to have the blockbusters, especially if you go a year or 2 years or however many years it's been with Xbox without like the back-to-back blockbuster hits, right? Like you gotta come and you gotta refocus. And so I think that's interesting that it is like seemingly a Bethesda thing, at least for now.
And for me personally, that's the canary in the coal mine of what I was talking about, where you're talking about they want smaller, they want this. They're gonna get to the same conclusion it seems everybody has been getting to of the big companies. We want IP that sell. So when you read this thing, right, and you're from the memo with Matt Booty, right, Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games, the franchises that are best positioned for success, they are talking about exploiting Fallout,
Yeah.
They're talking about Indiana Jones upcoming and being a thing, right? Like, you have to imagine, even with the heels on the heels of the success of Fallout, the conversation we had with Todd, more than ever, Xbox has to be over there being like, we are making spin-off Fallouts. We are giving other studios spin-off Fallouts things and whatever. Like, they can be Fallout Shelter-y kind of things. They can be those kind of ideas, but you guys can make 5, fine, but we need to get this out there and make sure we're exploiting the IP, for lack of a better term.
See, and that's the thing with consolidation and acquisition that I absolutely hate. Because you're buying Bethesda and going, we are going to change you from what Bethesda is, right? Because when Bethesda is just like Bethesda and there's ZeniMax or whatever, and they're not under Xbox, there is this identity of, hey, our biggest things are the Bethesda Game Studios games. We're making Starfield, we're making Fallout, we're making Elder Scrolls. But then you also have the identity of, hey, but it's software is doing Doom, Machine Games are doing Wolfenstein, Arcane, they do Dishonored. Like, and I think that works so well when you're that size that you don't have to appease to Xbox above you, Microsoft above that, and like that top down needing those numbers to go up arbitrarily and having to make those cuts within Bethesda, and now Bethesda's just a different thing. Like, that's the thing that I hate about all this, because I think that is the expectation with all these acquisitions. You look at Activision, I'm sure, as Xbox, and you go, all right, we bought Activision, now who do we need to cut? We saw all those layoffs that happened at the beginning of the year at Activision. That is the immediate conversation, and I think that turns the energy, that turns the entire identity of who Bethesda is into a different thing. Hey, Bethesda, you are all these different things. Now you are Fallout and Indiana Jones, and the only the biggest IPs that you can put out and exploit or whatever. That's who you are now. I think that fucking sucks.
100%. And like, one thing I would push back on for your argument about Bethesda, but I think it's the right stuff, right? Is I think Doom, and I think, well, Wolfenstein they've already kind of moved away from, right? But I think Doom for sure, I think, is a big enough IP that they would see we should move on that. For me, it's more stepping off and going like, what does this mean for Obsidian? Would they have ever made Pentiment? If they pitch Pentiment right now, would Xbox greenlight Pentiment right now? What does it mean for Double Fine? Whatever Double Fine is doing, if they had pitched that, would that have been something? Are they going to change course on that? And again, this is back to a chilling effect you have to imagine is at every Xbox studio right now of like, all right, there's something in the wind right now. What does it mean for us smaller boutique studios that don't have an Indiana Jones, don't have a Fallout, right? Don't have a Halo, don't have a Call of Duty.
Like, what would Arcane Leon be looking like right now if they weren't working on a Blade?
Right.
You know, that's something that Andy had mentioned a few days ago. And I think that's sad though, right? Like if Arcane Leon was working on Dishonored 3, or they were working on a Deathloop 2, or just a new IP in general, like, that for me is concerning. That that probably puts them more on a chopping block. The reason why they're still around is because they're coming off of hits, but then also they're working on a thing that is a Marvel IP. I think that's, I don't know, that's so bleak when you think about what video games are able to do as its own medium. The fact that you have to go, but what's working in the movies? What's working in comic books? What's working in these other mediums? All right, we're going to give you that, and that is going to give you the legitimacy to be able to function as a studio. I think that stuff sucks. The Microsoft looking into Game Pass stuff is also interesting in terms of, all right, we always imagine Game Pass is going to continually increase in price. That's just how these things go.
No.
How much can you increase Game Pass in price? And does Call of Duty legitimize like a big price hike? You know, like if Xbox Game Pass Ultimate moves up to, let's say, $25 or $30 a month, if Call of Duty is dropping on there day and date, like the brand new Call of Duty every single year is dropping on there along with all the other Activision Blizzard stuff, do they do that? Does the fans receive that? Does that cause this whole thing to tank?
Who knows? I mean, that's the thing, right? Where I feel like an interesting one that went through on the regular chat, not even the super chat, was someone saying, you know, remember, the majority of Xbox players don't even know this is happening. Xbox will recover. It'll be fine, just like Sony has. History would tell you you're right. And I don't think it's like the fans who are on the other side of it would run away. I think it's more the fans who don't know. It's more the question of like, if Microsoft no longer believes in the Game Pass, be on all the screens, or console business that the Xbox team, Phil and his crew, has laid out, right? What does that mean for Xbox? And I think that's where it gets interesting of like, again, if Microsoft's trying to figure out how to make money off of all this, right? The hardware's not doing it. Like they're not selling these units like, at a crazy pace where the Xbox like, so eliminate that, make them third-party publishers. If you're talking about, Hellblade 2 gets mentioned coming to PS5. Obviously, we've talked about this. There's been rumors that Gears Collection forever, right? Like, if that's the thing in the air, then you're just going to go third-party. And then at that point, you're not in it for the art's sake. You're not in it for the Game Pass sake. You're in it to make these giant tentpole things, these IPs that will sell and go on. And it's like, obviously, there's, again, a shell-shocked week. You're seeing the aftershocks and the reports. Like, it's damning that, like, one of Eurogamer's top stories today, right, is what's the point of Xbox? And it's an opinion piece by Chris Tapsell, right? And it's going, and it's, the subhead on it, right? The platform holder has repeated the same terrible mistakes for over a decade. The reason is simple. Its priorities are back to front, right? Opening graph. The 360 years feels like a lifetime ago. This week, Xbox stunned the industry by announcing it had closed 3 studios and repurposed a 4th into a service game support team. This follows the 1,900 people laid off across Xbox at the start of the year, and those Xbox employees quietly caught up in the 10,000 layoffs Microsoft made the year before. It has been a disastrous piece of PR self-sabotage, particularly with the reputations of these studios in mind. And then it goes on and talks about Arcane, and it's like, that's where the sentiment is right now. And again, like, back to the whole trust thing, where it's a complicated one of like, you should never trust any fucking company. They're a company. They're out to make money. But again, why Xbox is different is that it has Phil, Aaron, Sarah, who have been public and have been touting what their message is and touting what the goals are. And then to have this happen and it be so antithetical to what they've said, it makes you go, well, why is there the change? And that's why there's this fracture point, right? Of like, is it from top down? Is it this thing? Is it the finances? Is it you spent so much on Activision Blizzard? You need to figure out how to make this profitable. Like, you knew there'd be redundancies, obviously, buying companies and doing stuff. That doesn't make it easier. That's not what has happened here, though, right? And so for Matt Booty to be Joseph Bowman super chats and says, what the hell does it even mean spread thin like peanut butter? Are developers the peanut butter? Is Xbox the bread? Why is Booty talking about food, right? Like, again, not, I don't think, the best analogy, right, in terms of how thin you spread your peanut butter.
But also, but I do have that same question of, what do you mean? Like, how has Bethesda's operations changed since you bought them that would put them in this place where they're super spread thin? Is it the fact that, you're like, just it's more expensive now, so you need to spend more money in order to maintain Bethesda, which means you have to be able to put out the game sooner. And so, like, hey, we're cutting off these 2 studios because, I don't know, man, shit's more expensive and we can't afford everybody. But if that's the case, like, why are we here where we bought them in the first place? Yeah. I know tides change, the economy's changed, shit has gotten real rough in the last however many years, and so it could be this thing of getting blindsided, but you're also the ones who bought all these studios, and so that should come with foresight of, hey, we are buying all this stuff, but we have these plans in place that are going to make sure that we're able to maintain as many people as possible. And when you're shutting down multiple studios that aren't just like, like it's these are studios that are recognizable and studios that have legacy and studios that fans love. I think that's the thing that really hurts about it, where it's the fact that, like, you talk, there was the super chat you mentioned that talked about, like, oh, people on the mainstream aren't even going to know that this is happening. And I think back to even when I was young, when I was a kid, and I would boot up a Rare game, and I saw the Rare logo, and this is before I even knew what, like, a video game studios were. I just knew that if I saw a Rare logo, that meant that a game's good. I was like, oh, I'm about to play a good game because it has the Rare thing. It was like greatest hits for PlayStation for me, except it's a studio.
Sure.
But, like, I feel like video game development has become transparent enough in terms of the fans understanding what they're getting from a studio. Like, people, when Larian announces their next game, the Baldur's Gate 3 fans are going to go, oh, yeah, that's the Baldur's Gate 3 people. For sure, I'm going to play that, right? Like, word of that trickles down. I think there's enough people who either played Hi-Fi Rush or people who have played Dishonored games or played Arcane games that go, oh, like, you're closing down the studio that made Hi-Fi Rush? I really like that game. Like, that sucks that I'm not going to get another one. Or same with Arcane. I know Arcane still has Arcane Leon that can make Dishonored and all this stuff. But still a branch of that I think is big enough to go, oh, I play Prey. I like Prey. Or I've played these games before, and now I'm reading in the news an article that you're shutting this down. Oh, damn, that means I'm not going to get more from this. And that's on the higher-ups, right? Like, if I don't want to make the assertion that if Xbox didn't buy Bethesda, then this wouldn't happen, because there's a chance that it could still happen, right? But
and again, like we talked about in the GamesCast, right? It's GamesCast Daily. The one with Phil, Paris and Gary was the idea that like Bethesda was for sale. Somebody was going to buy Bethesda. It could have been a much different bloodletting. It could have been a much different like layoff thing. It could have been this. You say if they hadn't bought it, would this have happened? It's more of like if they hadn't bought Call of Duty, would this have happened? Right? Like I feel like that's what really raised the stakes of like we need to make money.
I think
off
Jason
of
or
this.
somebody had mentioned that too, where the Activision acquisition had put this
on Microsoft's radar in a different way.
put it on Microsoft's radar and like it applied more scrutiny to
and let me
Xbox.
bring on, I've seen that as well. Let me jump into a super chat here from Calvin Perez. Of course, you can super chat to be part of the show. Says, what is Xbox's metric for success? Is it worth it to cut studios that could make smaller hits a la Helldivers or bolster Game Pass? They've touted this catalog of devs and are gutting it. Again, for me, that is the alarm. What you just nailed it, right, Calvin, of like, I don't think we're talking anymore about what Xbox's metric of success is. I think we're talking about what Microsoft's metric for success is for Xbox. And I think the losses that Xbox has been taking to get to a place where they are future-proofed and on every screen and have this thing and are like all the stuff you've heard from Phil and team for 10 years, right? I think now that, and this is, I'm connecting dots that maybe aren't correct. But like we're saying, now that there's so much scrutiny after the $69 billion deal or whatever for Activision Blizzard, this is where it goes, wait a second. What have you guys been doing? Why haven't you turned a profit in so long? What is this line item? Blah, blah, blah. Like, this is, again, it seems to me, every time I've seen layoffs in corporate bullshit, where it is like, fucking get rid of some of this. Let's get a little bit better. Let's get our financials a little bit better. Let's do this, and then you don't think about the hundreds of lives you're affecting as you start knocking them down like Guess Who people.
Yeah. The Hellblade 2 coming to, or them talking about Hellblade 2 maybe coming to PS5, considering the idea, I think is interesting. This comes off of...
I don't think there's any considering. That's 1,000% happening.
You think for sure?
Yes. I always forget. How long's Hellblade 2 been in gestation?
A very long time.
So fucking long, right? And
Hellblade 1 came out in 2017.
Remember, this was announced alongside the X. This was their first Xbox Series X game when they were like, hey, this is the next Xbox. This is the kind of game it can look like.
Yeah.
And it's finally coming out. Finally. They are a tiny team. It is a tiny game. Not tiny. It's on par with the first one, which is a
probably
small
7
game.
to 8 hours long.
So like if you want it to be a one sitting, if not two sitting game, right? And it's got no marketing behind it right now. I just think there's a bunch of things happening here, and I don't think any of them have positive outcomes. I think you look at it and I go, what we are describing right now in so many ways is Hi-Fi Rush. This is just like Hi-Fi Rush. So of course they're going to put it eventually everywhere to make as much money as possible. I think the fact that they're not crazy promoting it means that they're like, shit, this will not satiate the mainstream Xbox fan. Not because it's bad, but because it is short and it's this weird game about psychosis.
It's a particular game, right?
It's a Greg Miller-ass game, which isn't necessarily what everybody who has an Xbox wants.
Yeah. Like Hellblade, I'm so curious because you just played Hellblade 1, or at least
I did. Yeah, we're reviewing it tomorrow. Me and Paris are reviewing Hellblade 1 for 2024 tomorrow.
So I don't want to ask you too much about it because I want you to wait for until.
I've talked about Hellblade before, but yeah.
Yeah, but like Hellblade is one where
it's a special ass game.
It's fucking special. Like I playing through that game, it felt like I was playing something that was so like well written in terms of what they're doing with the story, created in terms of what they're doing with FMV, what they do with the voices and like the binaural audio system, and like being able to depict how the main character Senua feels with like the psychosis she's going through and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All that stuff is super cool. But it's also just a very technically advanced game, and I imagine for Ninja Theory, they are probably spending a lot of money on Hellblade 2. When you just look at the trailers that we got at the Game Awards, this game looks so fucking impressive, right? And I think they're using Unreal Engine 5.
I couldn't tell you.
They're using
kindoffunny.com/you're
Yeah, but they're putting in so many resources to it. And I remember when I think it might have been when like we're in the rollout for Xbox Series X. It was like when I first joined Kind of Funny, so I want to say it was just 2020. But we got like pictures of the studio and like stuff like that, and they're like, oh, actually this is rendered, like this is a render, and like this is all the cool stuff that we're doing at Ninja Theory. Listening to KFGD a few days ago, maybe it might have been yesterday, with Tim and Abu was talking about how the business
is using Unreal Engine 5. Thank you, Bandersson.
the business side of video games and the artistic side of video games just don't get along, right? Like those are two things that maybe shouldn't intersect, but have to intersect because that's how this whole thing works. But man, like you look at Ninja Theory and you go, wow, these guys have the capability to push the industry so forward. Like the things, the technologies they're using, the way that they're using the technology to really have a commentary on mental health, or to like make you experience a certain thing, or to do really cool things with visuals. They're doing so many cool things at Ninja Theory, and I'm sure that costs a lot of money. And to your point, Hellblade 2 not getting crazy marketing right now, and coming off of what we were seeing with Tango Gameworks and Arkanos and the other studios, like I could see the reality where we get past Hellblade 2, maybe they port it to PlayStation, and then Ninja Theory gets cut. And if that happens, it is so damning to like the industry, because like these are the guys that are pushing things forward. These are the guys that are putting forward new ideas. I would say the same thing for Hi-Fi Rush, maybe not on the same level as Ninja Theory, but Hi-Fi Rush is a third-person action game that is a rhythm game that has like this almost Spider-Verse style art style to it, where like what they're doing with the frame rates and all that stuff. This is the stuff that's pushing the industry forward, and you're having these games in development under you, and you have these studios under you that are doing these really cool things that are good for the industry, and you go, all right, now our money, our pockets are telling us that we need to cut you, and that is going. I feel like we're cutting off. Like, not only is it like a bad thing for Xbox, it is just a bad thing for video games. The fact that these studios are going this way,
it is a terrible thing for video games. You know, one of the super chats that came through is Tyler Wallace and says, "Is this the best time for gaming?" ? And obviously, that was such a commentary last year, right? Where we talked about how great all the games were and how horrible all these layoffs were, right? Mm-hmm. You can't have one without the other. You're here now, and what you're talking about right now in this we are acquiring and then killing cycle that you're seeing is not only the loss of games and jobs and etc., right? But it's the loss of institutional knowledge that really hurts. Where Ninja Theory has been fucking killing it for so long, right? And I know I'm already fucking putting them in the grave, but you can go to Tango if you want to as well, right? Yeah. This works for anybody, but you are this independent studio. You make these awesome games, these ideas that AAA doesn't want to do, that you struggle to find a publisher, you do whatever, right? That independent studio gets acquired, gets to make something. It doesn't meet the absurd expectations of some fucking corporate bean counter looking at the spreadsheet, trying to figure out their stock price, right? So then that studio is closed. Those talented people go back, they find other jobs, hopefully. They don't leave the industry, do all this stuff. But you suddenly no longer have that studio that was making stuff and learn from their project to their project to their project as a team, right? That's what I always drive home, or try to at least, when we see this new round of, and again, I'm not putting dirt on their grave already, but that's No Moon, or Ascendant Studios, or Callisto Protocol. Who was their dev? I always forget why. I can never. It's got the snake logo. Sledgehammer? No. Strike Force?
Striking Distance.
Striking Distance, right? You have these teams that come together of incredibly talented people who work together throughout the years on different projects together and this, and then they all come together to make a game that they think they can, and they can because they've done it before.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it. They haven't done it together in so long. They don't have the proper workflows. They don't know how this is going to go. Yeah. They don't know the engine. They're coming from scratch trying to get to where they just left, and you can't do that. You got to build slowly.
I mean, I think on the other side of the coin, you look at Larian Studios and how long Larian has been around, and obviously like Baldur's Gate 3 is not this came out of nowhere type of game.
Sure.
Right? Larian had made Divinity Original Sin 2 in, I believe, also 2017, 2018, one of those years. And that is, like, if you played that game, I know so many people that played that year and went, hey, this is one of the games, this is a Game of the Year contender. Like, this is a fucking incredible game. If you pay attention to Larian, you've seen the growth, and they're able to get there. But the thing that hurts me, or hurts my heart, is that, like, as we talk about it, is that, like, there are so many other Larians that haven't gotten their chance to be Larian yet, right? That haven't gotten their chance to be Baldur's Gate 3 Larian yet, and they're getting shut down before they get to do that. And when all the talk about Ninja Theory, I think Ninja Theory is one of those where, you know, Hellblade, incredible. Hellblade 2, I'm sure is going to be incredible. I fingers crossed is going to be incredible, right? Like, is Hellblade 2 that? Could Hellblade 3 be that? Or like whatever Ninja Theory's next project, right? Like, does it have the ability to be that, and do they get to do that if they get shut down in the next couple of years? And take that and apply that to other Microsoft studios, apply it to Double Fine, which I think Psychonauts 2, maybe you can make the argument that is theirs, right? But like, what if Psychonauts 3 is this across the board 10 out of 10 industry changing game, But before we get to Psychonauts 3, boom, they get cut. We're not able to get there.
Yeah.
Like, that fucking sucks.
Totally. The whole thing fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Everything sucks right now. Except your support, of course, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, of course, this is Kind of Funny Games Daily each and every weekday on a variety of platforms. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you like that, we're asking for your support. $10 keeps us independent, keeps the mics and lights on, and, of course, keeps the live talk show train rolling here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames and youtube.com/kindoffunnygames all day long. However, with the membership, you get the shows ad-free, you get the ability to watch the shows in the afternoon live as you record them, and of course, you get your Gregway. But you're not using your membership benefits right now, so here's a word from our sponsors.
This episode's brought to you by Aura Frames. Looking for the perfect gift to celebrate the moms in your life? Aura Frames are beautiful Wi-Fi connected digital picture frames that allow you to share and display unlimited photos. It's super easy to upload and share photos via the Aura app, and if you're giving an Aura as a gift, you can even personalize the frame with preloaded photos and memories. Greg, Kevin, and a ton of people here at Kind of Funny are obsessed with their Aura frames. It takes about 2 minutes to set up a frame using the Aura app. You can add unlimited photos and videos and invite as many people as you want to a frame. Aura displays photos in true color and automatically adjusts for the light level of the room. At night, when you turn off the lights, your frame also turns off to save energy. From grandmothers to new mothers, aunts, and even the friends in your life, every mom would love an Aura frame. Right now, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. Listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $30 off plus free shipping on their best-selling frame. That's auraframes.com and use code KINDOFFUNNY at checkout to save. Terms and conditions apply. This episode's brought to you by Shady Rays. Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers an unrivaled product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames and world-class optics for all outdoor adventures. With an extensive array of styles and colors, you're bound to find the perfect pair of Shady Rays sunglasses. Y'all know I've been outside in the sun playing a lot of Pokemon Go, and it's such a great experience wearing Shady Rays when I am out and about looking dope. That's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost or broken replacements. If you lose or break a pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Exclusively for you, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code KF20 for $20 off each pair of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. This episode's brought to you by BetterHelp. We all carry around different stressors, big and small. I'm currently planning a wedding, so I know all about that. But when we keep them bottled up, it can start to affect us negatively. Therapy helps you find your strengths so you can ditch the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. You can get out of your negative thought cycles and find some mental and emotional peace, and it can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. Some of my best friends use BetterHelp and love how helpful it can be for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself, and it isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapist at any time for no additional charge. Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit betterhelp.com/kindoffunny today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/kindoffunny.
Baby, come back. It's number 2 on the Roper Report, ladies and gentlemen. Animal Well Review Roundup. Animal Well reviews have posted today, and they are hot as fucking fire. A Metacritic of 91, an Open Critic of 89. We will start with Rebecca Valentine at IGN.com, who gave it a 9 out of 10. Animal Well is a veritable feast of brain teasers that's far more concerned with twisting your mind into knots than any grueling platforming challenges. It's lovely to look at thanks to gorgeous pixel art and dynamic lighting, and an excellent use of haptics and well-tuned physics systems make it fun to touch too. Animal Well's steadily unlocked toy box of tools thoroughly rewards play, curiosity, and experimentation for hours upon hours after the credits roll. Though that late game maze of mind teasers might grate once in a while if you're reluctant to ask for help, the massive onion of Animal Well's secrets remain dense, clever, and thrilling, even when you've peeled back as many layers as you think you possibly can, ... and then peeled a few more beyond that. Charlie, what?
Oh, I said Beyond.
Oh, Beyond. Was there a Beyond I missed? Oh, man, I missed a Beyond.
Yeah, it was last 2 words.
Charlie Watchlos at Game Informer gave it a 9 out of 10. Teeming with life, secrets, and charm that surprise and delight, Animal Well held my full, undivided attention. And then Richard Wakeling at GameSpot also gave it a 9 out of 10. Animal Well delights with its non-traditional approach to Metroidvanias, combining unique items with a reactive and surreal world that's full of surprises. Now, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Greg Miller.
As soon as we end this episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily, we are doing our Animal Well and Cryptmaster reviews on the Kind of Funny Gamescast live talk shows all day long. However, you're hosting Gamescast.
Mm-hmm.
Animal Well is a Metroidvania.
Yeah.
A Metroidvania, usually not a Blessing Adeoye joint.
Not really.
However, you are Puzzle Poppy.
Yeah.
When you hear all of this, obviously we've seen them. They've been here on 2 years in a row on our GDC live stream showing Animal Well and stuff. Where are you with hype or wanting to play Animal Well or playing it already?
Yeah, I mean, I started playing it when we got code for it, and I think it's a really fascinating game, and it's one that I would like to dig deep into. Right, Metroidvania is never I don't want to play this. Metroidvania is just it doesn't make me more excited or less excited. For me, it's just like a format. It's if you said open world, I'm like, all right, cool. But it's one that I've been fascinated about from word of mouth. I've heard so many people hype up Animal Well from over the years of Summer Game Fest previews and people just getting to demo and preview it. And every single time it appears in an event, I have so many people that are like, dude, this Animal Well game, you gotta check it out. Shit. And I never at any of those events got the chance to actually pick it up and play until we got the code. And I've only played maybe 30 minutes to an hour. And even in just that 30 minutes to an hour, I can already see what people are saying. The visuals are a delight. The one of the first items you pick up is this firecracker thing, and the way that the visual effects play on screen in a 2D pixel art game, it looks so cool and so interesting. I also like a lot of what they're talking about in terms of, the openness of it, the mystery of it. A lot of the words that people are using to describe it do speak to me in a way that makes me want to get into it. The only reason I didn't play more of it is one was playing Cryptmaster, but then also playing Hellblade,
another Puzzle Poppy game.
Yeah,
that I did not see coming. But we'll talk about that as well tomorrow. But the game's after this.
I also didn't play as much Cryptmaster as I wanted to. I think after just the back-to-back Stellar Blade and then all these long ass games, I was like, I need a break. So I started playing Animal Well, and I was
Cryptmaster also is such a. Well, I mean, I'm gonna review it here in a second, but it's a disservice, I think, to be I'm going to force myself to play it because it is brain teasers and we'll get to it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm so happy to see it's getting this reception. I love that it from the reviews and from the critical stuff and from seeing people in the industry talk about it on Twitter. Seems like another maybe game of the year contender.
Yeah,
maybe
contender.
Indie game of the year. Maybe this year's Sea of Stars or something of that ilk. Hey, it's a smaller game, but it's making waves. And also shout out to Big Mode, who's the publisher, which is Donkey's publishing label, and this is their first game. And so what a banger to start off with as the first game being published.
For sure. If you aren't paying attention, ladies and gentlemen, it is actually a huge day for indie games. Yes, you have Animal Well. Yes, you have Cryptmaster. You also have Crow Country, and you have Little Kitty Big City. These have all dropped today. Lots of I haven't actually seen Crow Country reviews. Everybody else, though, Cryptmaster, Little Kitty Big City, doing real well. Delivering on the promise people have seen.
Another one, I gotta double check it though. This game Indica, I've been seeing people talk about a little bit.
Yeah, I saw Janet tweet about that last night.
I believe that's out today too.
Is it out today? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have all of it in Wii News, but I don't know. Maybe if Kevin, if you want to find a trailer maybe for Indica so we can see it real quick, because I don't know much about it.
Well, let's save it for Wii News. If you can find it, Kevin, off the Wii News thing, we can get to it when we get there. But I heard if you're a Catholic school kid, which I am.
I also went to. Well, I didn't go to Catholic school, but I went to a Christian school.
You went to church school, so it's good. Yeah, there's something going on with that. So we'll check it out when we get there. I don't know much about it though. What I do know is number 3 on the Roper Report: Nintendo Switch abandons Twitter functionality. Nintendo tweets, as of June 10th, 2024, it will no longer be possible to post screenshots and videos to X, formerly Twitter, from the Nintendo Switch's album, or send friend requests to social media users via the friend suggestions feature. Find out more, blah, 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 blah. To which X Gaming, I fucking hate it here, X Gaming quote tweeted and wrote, "The gaming community is one of the largest and most vibrant communities on our platform, and we are dedicated to enhancing and supporting gaming-related features. As part of Nintendo's planned discontinuation of sharing content to X from the Nintendo Switch from June 11th, users will need to download Switch gameplay media directly to their smartphones and share it natively on our platform. Our partnership with Nintendo remains strong, and we are working together to ensure a smooth transition for all users. We will continue collaborating with partners to bring new and exciting experiences to our global community.
What an odd quote tweet from X Gaming. And I know X or Twitter, or like whatever we're calling it, I know they're in a weird place. They've been in a weird place for the last couple of years with their new ownership.
Yeah.
But yeah, to go, oh, we're cutting down on functionality with Nintendo. Our partnership remains strong. It's like, what is your partnership?
You don't have a fucking partnership
anymore.
Shut up, dorks.
This sucks because I did use like a lot of the Twitter stuff, like being able to tweet screenshots and then download screenshots off of Twitter was nice. But then also, Switch has this thing where if you can find people via like follows on Twitter who are like friends. And so that made it really easy to friend people because we would follow each other. I'm like, oh shit, all right, cool. Let me get you on Switch because the Switch friendship system sucks in general. I still hate using friend codes.
Yeah.
And so the Twitter thing actually made it way easier, way better, given what Switch's thing is. So now that they're losing this, I'm like, oh well, this sucks. The downloading footage or downloading screenshots off of your phone though isn't that bad. Once they added that, like. It's a very quick QR code situation.
Yeah, I saw people. It's interesting. I always forget, and this is, I mean, like, you know, let me tell you. I know, you know who I am, but like how little I use my fucking Switch. You know what I mean? And like I saw people complaining about this. Really, I was like, really? Is this like y'all are tweeting that much of your fucking images straight up, just raw dogging it right there? I'm putting everything into an album, and then I do. When I do it, I do the share the QR code, do the thing, so I have it on my phone and I can tweak it and write a little bit better or whatever. Of course, you know, why is this happening? There's no actual reason given, right? But our friend, of course, Arthur Geese over at a Wirecutter, he had put up a tweet yesterday responding to Destin Laguerre from IGN that was like,
the API, I think, right?
Yep, API access prices for Twitter, along with the reduction in active users, make it not worth it. That's his hypothesis, which I also believe.
PlayStation and Xbox also
already did it too. Yeah. So this is not by any stretch of the imagination breaking news or something crazy for them. But I think if you didn't know, I think it's that this costs, and if your users aren't using it, why do it for such a little group? But you know what users are using? Capcom games.
Yeah.
Number 4, Capcom announces 7th consecutive year of...
Somebody falls on my left, somebody falls on my right. Capcom's still standing tall.
Capcom's there killing it. Another year of record results. As Blessing wrote it, Jordan Middler at IGN.
I don't know what was going on with my brain this morning.
Jordan Middler of VGC reports, Capcom has recorded a 7th consecutive year of record high profits, fueled by sales of Resident Evil, Street Fighter, and Dragon's Dogma franchises. In its financial results released on Thursday, which covers the year ending March 31st, the Japanese publisher announced another year of record growth. The results are marked by the company's 11th consecutive year of operating income growth. I don't need to go into all this. You understand. The money's up. It's great. Capcom's largest earner was Resident Evil 4, the acclaimed remake of the survival horror classic. It sold 3.3 million units during the financial period, taking the lifetime sales of the game to 7 million. Street Fighter 6, which debuted in June, sold 3.3 million units. Prior to that release, Capcom's president said the company aimed to sell 10 million copies of the game, which would break the series record of 7.4 million achieved by Street Fighter 5. Capcom's latest big title, the acclaimed RPG Dragon's Dogma 2, sold 2.6 million units since release, pushing overall sales of Dragon's Dogma franchise over 11 million. Dragon's Dogma 2 was notable as Capcom's first $70 title. It's worth noting that Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen saw a huge sales push over the financial period, likely driven by excitement for the sequel. Hell yeah.
Wow.
Good job, Capcom.
It's
everybody else getting fucked up left and right. Capcom's like, we got this.
Yeah, if we had more time in this episode, I would want to like have a conversation of like, how does Capcom do it and nobody else is able to like do it in this way?
Yeah.
Is it the fact that they are, I mean, they're not a PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo, right? And so like they're a bit more smaller and are able to be like a bit more managed, I think, in that way. Because yeah, like they're just putting out here killing it 7 years in a row of growth.
I think, you know, that's great, and I agree, and yada yada. I don't think. I mean, how does Capcom do it? They milk their IPs.
That's true.
We're talking about Resident Evil 6, Dragon's Dogma 2, you know, Monster Hunter again, Resident Evil 4 remake, another, and like, no shade, like these are great games, these are awesome things, but Capcom isn't the one who's like, let's really push boundaries and do something crazy and something new.
I will say the last year they had Exoprimal, And then they also have, I know Exoprimal didn't perform, which is exactly what you're saying. They have another game that I can never remember the title of that's coming out this year. But it's like an action, almost strategy style game with like, I think like Japanese mythological like characters and setting.
Okay.
Could never tell you the name of that
I'm looking
game.
in the chat to see if anybody gets there for you.
Path of the Goddess.
There you
Path
go.
of the Goddess, which is
Yeah.
a new thing. Now, is that going to perform? Definitely not as well as any of these games.
Yeah. So they are putting it back, but they're not doing hand over fist a million of them, letting everybody go wild.
Of course.
And I also think Capcom does, again, a great job. No shame in the game of exploiting / milking their IP, where it is like,
You don't get tired of
there's
it.
Capcom cafes in Japan that are awesome. I went to a Monster Hunter cafe when I went there. Their store is always great. They really celebrate their brand and make you a fan of the brand and give you plenty of ways to give them money.
Yeah.
And they license their stuff a lot too.
And
Not their games, but like clothes, merch, shoes, whatever.
I know, like, between Exoprimal and Path of the Goddess is new things. I know those aren't really like the hottest things, the hottest prospects, but like the what was that game called? Pragmata. Pragmata being the one that was revealed at the PlayStation Showcase. If you remember, it's the one with like
Vaguely.
the spaceman outfit.
I love the spaceman outfit.
But that was like a PlayStation Showcase thing at the reveal of the PS5, and then they had the trailer last year that I was like, we're delaying it, saw we, with like a little note. I wonder if that's going to be able to enter the sphere of these major Capcom IPs, because that seems like the one that they're really taking their time on, and the one that they're putting on that big pedestal. And I would like to see another new Capcom IP be able to step up and be alongside the Monster Hunter Worlds or the Resident Evils of the world. I mean, and also like shout out to Dragon's Dogma 2, because I know we're talking about milking, but Dragon's Dogma 2 didn't need to happen.
Yeah, no,
that was
totally,
a thing
totally.
like that's a cult following game right there. But with how good Dragon's Dogma 2 was, I think it's broken out. It is now becoming this wider success that might enter Monster Hunter territories. They keep treating Dragon's Dogma this way.
We will wait and see. Capcom. Number 5 on the Roper Report. Netflix launches Roblox digital theme park featuring Stranger Things, One Piece, and Cobra Kai, and more. This is Jennifer Maas over at Variety. Netflix is teaming up with Roblox to launch its own digital theme park on the online gaming platform. Dubbed Next World. Is this April Fool's? Web-based universe will feature characters and content from Netflix IP, Stranger Things, One Piece, Cobra Kai, and Rebel Moon. The offering debuts in early access Wednesday. Quote, once you enter Next World, which is your central hub in the Netflix universe, you can dive deeper into the series and films you love. It's hard to believe Netflix is losing a lot of money and also laying people off. I'm good.
Yeah,
Go get it.
it's
Hey, can we be in Fortnite? No. All right, well, we'll go to Roblox. Roblox also incredibly successful. I'm not talking shit about Roblox.
but the fact that they're trying to make their own Fortnite situation happen with just Netflix IPs, I think is fascinating, because I get the same energy I got when was it after Infinity War or Endgame, where like you see the Avengers that are left.
Yeah, eating shawarma.
Yeah, and you're
That
like,
was just Avengers straight
or
up.
no, not the eating shawarma. It's more so like I think after Endgame, where it's like, okay, we're not getting Iron Man anymore, we're not getting Captain America, but we have Hawkeye.
Okay.
We have Hawkeye, and you're like, I don't care about these guys. Like, no,
You're thinking of Age of Ultron, right, where they walked in? Or do you mean who lived after Endgame?
I think I'm just thinking of who lived.
So
after
they never
Endgame.
showed anybody after Endgame. You just knew, you sat there and thought about it.
Yeah, like I guess
Got
thinking
it.
about
Got
like
it.
what the future of the Avengers are after the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of something.
Are you
I don't
thinking
know.
X-Men 97? What about DCEU? You think about that?
But anyway, you look at like the young Avengers, or you look at like the remaining Avengers, and you're like, oh man, this is as interesting as the guys we've gotten for the last however long. That's how I feel when I look at this. I'm like, all right, Cobra Kai,
And Tim likes that. You know.
Rebel Moon.
Users can go into the Steam ship within the Roblox world to attend online events like premieres and viewing parties, including May 17th, Jurassic World Chaos Theories preview, and watch daily content bites at the Tudum Theater.
Tudum. That's the Netflix sound.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's cool.
Tudum.
I
know.
like that they own that.
Yeah.
Tudum.
Ladies and
This is
gentlemen,
whack. It's so whack.
blessing, I'm sick of all this huge money-losing news. Just fucking stupid ideas. If I wanted something smaller, say the tiniest news I needed to know about, where would I go?
You can use user-generated content like a Demogorgon plushie head or a One Piece flag. Like free limited time user-generated content. That's cool. You would go to our last story, the Wii News channel, where we cover all the small news items you need to know about.
Number 6, the Wii News. From IGN. I love that this is a wee story. This is a small story in our life.
I
these
read
days.
through it and I was like, all right,
Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has disappointed Warner Brothers Discovery, owner of developer Rocksteady, to the tune of a $200 million hit on revenue. That's horrible. Rocksteady, I'm very concerned about you. Yeah, but it's just like, we news. Hey, the game that we all thought bombed the shit out of it.
Because it's like, how much more can we say about this, you know?
Reporting its
The thing
Q1
that
financial
happened.
results, Warner Brothers Discovery said its game revenue declined significantly as a result of a tough comparison last year with last year's best-selling video game, Hogwarts Legacy. The single-player video game dream for that IP of the people who love that IP versus the forced-on multiplayer games as service middle finger to the fans of that IP.
I think based on
Who knows?
my takeaway
Who knows
here-
why one was successful and the other cost you $200 million?
I think my takeaway with this one is that I think for WB, the future of their game should be online live service.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
That is somehow what they got out of this.
I see it, yeah. I see the vision, WB. I'm right there with you. Let's make some money. Let's make some money. Make it
From
all
ROG
online.
Global, the next ROG ally is going to be discussed in an upcoming stream today at noon. Dead Island 2 hits 7 million players, and the studio promises future content. From Twitter, quote, "To all our slayers, we read and value all your comments and wishes for the future. In the following months, we'll share some exciting and long-awaited new game updates. So stay tuned for more Dead Island 2 content to come. I'm still going to get back in platinum that.
Yeah?
Yeah, that'll actually happen. Once in a while I'll pop in on my portal, but I'm usually in the middle of something else. Out today, Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle Chomp Champs is out on PC, all the PlayStations, all the Xboxes, and Switch. We did a stream with them, sponsored last week. A lot of fun game, a lot of fun. A lot of trophies too, which I appreciate. Catch on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. This wasn't part of the ad, I'm just letting you know. Animal Well is out today, PlayStation 5, Switch, and PC. Crow Country is out today, PlayStation 5, all the Xboxes, and PC. Little Kitty Big City is out today on all the Xboxes, Switch, and PC. Indica is out today on PS5, PC, Xbox.
With a K.
What is this? Can we kill the music so I can hear it? Ugh.
Ooh. You like horror, right?
I love
Than
horror.
a convent.
Can you kick it from the start so I can hear what he's saying? Thank you, Kevin. I'm sorry to order you around. I love you, Kevin.
It's hard to
partial
imagine
nudity.
a place more
I love a good titty.
distant from adventure than a convent. The heroine of this story, if it were up to her, would have preferred to stay within its walls.
This is freaky. I don't like this.
However,
I feel like there's going to be a turn and it's not going to be scary at all.
It's going to be a buddy comedy.
destiny had something different in store for her.
Jesus.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, comrade in chat says it's like an A24 movie as a video game.
What's with the chiptune 8-bit bullshit?
Weird, right?
Why? Look at the.
Yeah, why do they have the weird
Something up
things
there?
up there?
Open it. Open it.
There's a level up? What is going on?
What is this video game? Is it a roguelike?
First, you got pushed out of your house, and then out of the monastery.
Yo.
I was going to play something else for review this afternoon. I'm playing
Go
this.
to jail. Sooner or later, you'd get pushed out of there as well. So where now? Huh? So many options.
What in the world?
If you're an audio listener, you got to come watch this trailer. This is bad shit crazy.
Yo, this music is sick. Yeah, for audio listeners, the music does not match the visuals.
Ask and you shall be deceived.
Visually, it's like it has the music coming back. Visually, it looks like a nun horror
movie, yeah.
like third person.
It's funny because I saw the key art and I saw Janet talking to someone else last night about it on
Yeah.
Twitter, and I was like, oh, it's a Janet's excited or interested in it or had already played 30 minutes. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be like a Greg and Janet, narrative.
Yeah.
You know, what are we doing in this Catholic school? I didn't expect to be fucking
then,
horror
like,
movie nun game.
Yeah, you see like some of the UI is just like pixel art style, and like the music kicks in. And there's like
I will
a level
check that
up
out
screen.
and get back to you on that one,
That's
ladies
cool.
and gentlemen. And then, of course, like I said, Cryptmaster is on PC today as well. Dead by Daylight Cross Dungeons and Dragons has a reveal set for May 14th. Master Detective Archives Raincoat Plus launches in the West on Series X. I'm sorry, on all the Xboxes, PS5, PC October 1st, and the Joker has been announced for Multiverses.
Let's go.
There you go, Barrett, my biggest Batman fan. He's ready. That's your Wii news. We ask you to keep us honest by going, of course, to kindafunny.com/you're wrong and telling us what we screw up as we screw it up. 2 corrections, one from N/A who says, Greg, Crow Country is not on all the Xboxes, just Xbox Series X and S. Thank you so much. Then Radic, our friend from CD Projekt, says Indica is not out today. It was out on May 2nd. I've been playing it since, and it's pretty cool. Way to fuck that up. Is it one of those where it came to PC early and now it's out on PlayStation
I think it might.
today?
Maybe it's just that platform then.
So I'm sorry, Radic, if you didn't know, we're not PC fucking dorks. We only care what comes to PlayStation. Okay? You can keep doing all your stuff over there, you weirdo. And then again, NA says, Greg said Raincoat is on all the Xboxes, but it's just Series X and S. So there you go. I guess that's what I mean, though, nowadays, right? I just hate saying X and S.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we could just say Xbox Series X and
I'll just start saying Xbox.
because
and
everything
you
that's
figure
on
it fucking
Series
out,
X
you know
is
what I
on
mean?
Series S. We know that.
Guess what? Soon all Xbox games are going to be on PlayStation because Xbox is going to be fucking out of business. They ain't going to make hardware no more. Woo! Thank you.
It's not even out. This Indica is even not on. Did it say PlayStation in the thing?
It did say PlayStation in the thing.
Yeah, I went to the PlayStation store and it says add to wish list. Releases in May 2024 is what it says. This is from releases.
Part of the Indica game is everybody's getting it different times. Nobody knows what's happening.
Releases.com screwed me on this one.
Stop! But you don't need to. No, we don't need smoke for that. Good Lord, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of you super chatted, and as you know, super chats aren't necessarily guaranteed to be on the show. I appreciate everywhere you've gone. I appreciate the conversations you've tossed in here. We're gonna say Riyadh gets the final one here. Just want to say I love what you guys do. You guys helped a ton when I was deployed overseas. Been listening to you guys since day one. Thank you, Riyadh. We appreciate you supporting us and being part of this.
Thank you so much.
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday, live on YouTube, Twitch, and podcast services around the globe. We run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, of course, kick us $10 and say thank you for doing a great job. You can get a Kinda Funny membership on youtube.com/kindafunnygames or patreon.com/kindafunny. And of course, you'd get all of our episodes of every show we do, which is a lot, ad-free. You'd get the ability to watch our afternoon podcast live as we record them. And you'd get the multimedia experience known as Gregway in your ears and eye holes each and every weekday. Of course, this is just the beginning of a full day of live talk show content for youtube.com/kindafunnygames and twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. Right now, we are going to stop, reset, and get ready for a Kinda Funny Gamescast all about Animal Well and Cryptmaster reviews. And then after that, Nick gets into his stream again, gets in the Duffy as he goes down victory road, getting ready to beat Pokemon in his Nuzlocke challenge. But until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.